Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear participants. Welcome to this session of textual study of the Quran. Today we'll be starting off with verse 130 of Surah Anam. In our previous lessons, we have seen that how this surah addresses the Quraysh and points out to them some of their blatant deviations from the right path. So remember, since the time of Abraham, when they were settled in this area in Hijaz, they were ones who were following one God, and it was much later when polytheism crept into their ranks. So they are being told that their origin started with Prophet Abraham, who was very dedicated monotheist. He was someone who was committed to God. And how come they believe to be his followers and still don't follow what he actually taught? And in this regard, some of their innovations have also been discussed in the previous verses, and some of them will be discussed in the coming ones as well. So we start off with the verse 130. The words are Ya ma'shar al-jinni wal-ins alam ya'tikum rusulun minkum yaqussuna alaykum ayati wa yunzirunakum liqa'a yawmikum haza قالوا شهدنا على أنفسنا وغرتهم الحياة الدنيا وشهدوا على أنفسهم أنهم كانوا كافرين. O groups of jinn and humans, did there not come to you messengers from among you who would recite my revelations to you and would warn you of this day of meeting of yours? They will say, we bear witness against our own selves. The life of this world deceived them, and now they are testifying against themselves that they were disbelievers. Clearly, we can see from these words that as far as messengers are concerned, they were not just sent to humankind, they were also sent to jinn kind. As you can see, the words are Alam ya'tikum rusulum minkum yaqussuna alaykum ayati. And of course, starting off with the invocative, Ya ma'shar al-jinni wal-ins. All groups of jinn and human beings, we have sent messengers from among you, and which means actually that is something will be from amongst your own groups. And so therefore we can clearly see that as far as guidance is concerned, it is not something that is confined to human beings. And as far as messengers are concerned, they are also not confined to human beings. The jinn kind, they receive their own messengers. And the word yaqussuna is also worthy of attention, because its conventional meaning is to narrate some story, to narrate some tales. However, it tells, and I mean, it's very telling here in the sense that when it is said yaqussuna alaykum ayati, it actually means that these jinn and human rasul or messengers, they would narrate God's revelations or God's verses. So this verse has been used here in order to understand that a better part of them consists of the fate of the disbelievers and their anecdotes. So you see, when they are being told that these messengers, they recited out God's revelations, the occasion is that God will pose to them that did not my messengers warn you of the fate of the disbelievers and of the advent of that day, so that you now have consigned yourself to eternal doom? So it is something of this sort, that is like a warning, and these verses especially are referring to the verses of warning. As you can see from the context, it says وَيُنْزِرُونَكُمْ لِقَاءَ يَوْمِكُمْ هَذَا, and would warn you of this day of meeting of yours. So basically these were warning verses that were issued forth, that were recited before them, and in spite of that they continued to tread their path of indignation, of not following the right path, and at the same time they were adamant on their denial. And as you can see, the words قَالُوا شَهِدْنَا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِنَا, they will say, we bear witness against our own selves. وَغَرَّتْهُمُ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا, and the life of this world deceived them, and now they are testifying against themselves that they were disbelievers. So in other words, what this verse or this set of verses is telling us is that they will be on the day of judgment, they will be bearing witness against their own selves, which is that they will accept that they were doing something wrong. They will confess to the truth. Shahidu ala anfusihim annahu kanu kafirin, that they will testify against themselves that they were disbelievers. That it is something that the Quran has said a number of times, that the punishment in the hereafter is going to take place once matters are so clear, crystal clear, that people who are going to be punished, they will confess that they deserve this punishment. And that is precisely what is meant here. Shahidu ala anfusihim annahum kanu kafirin, that they will bear witness that they are disbelievers, and hence the punishment that has been destined for them, that has been uh, picked out for them and called out for them, is something that they deserve. And this is the extent of perfect justice that will take place in the hereafter. Every single criminal, every wrongdoer would vouch for the fact that whatever he or she is getting as chastisement, as God's scourge and torment, is something that is a deserving end to what they did. It is not that they did anything out of confusion or anything out of lack of information. They fully knew what the truth was, and in spite of that, they continued to deny in arrogance. And hence, now when they are facing God, there is no other fate but the fate that they will meet. As we can see on several occasions, the Quran points this out, that such disbelievers will be consigned to eternal hell and they will rot and burn in it. ذَلِكَ أَن لَّمْ يَكُنْ رَبُّكَ مُهْلِكَ الْقُرَىٰ بِظُلْمٍ وَأَهْلُهَا غَافِلُونَ. And this is something, of course, which is said in a very emphatic way, that we had sent these messengers because your Lord is not one who destroys the city due to their injustice, when their inhabitants are unaware of the truth. So these inhabitants were sent because God is an embodiment of mercy. He will not destroy. He will not destroy anyone unless, of course, they are clearly communicated the implication of their denials. ذَلِكَ أَلَّمْ يَكُنْ رَبُّكَ مُهْلِكَ الْقُرَىٰ, that the cities, due to their injustices, when their inhabitants are unaware of the truth, and therefore they must rely and understand this, that these disbelievers, they deserve what they are getting. وَلِكُلٍّ دَرَجَاتٍ مِّمَّا عَمِلُوا وَمَا رَبُّكَ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا يَعْمَلُونَ. The ranks of each of these are now according to his deeds, and your Lord is not unaware of whatever they have been doing. So the implication is that God is simultaneously self-sufficient and merciful. He has arranged for the people to be guided and invited them through his messengers to faith, and his plans will be fulfilled accordingly. So God does not receive, neither does God receive any advantage if someone accepts him, nor does he lose anything if someone rejects him. As you can see from the previous verse, that God is someone who is totally self-sufficient, and there is in no case the situation in which anyone can take advantage of him. He is the ultimate lawgiver. He's someone who is going to take people to task for their indignation, for their deliberate denial. He's not going to punish people because of any lack of information. He's not going to punish people if they deserve any lenience. So such is his mercy. And then وَلِكُلٍّ دَرَجَاتٌ مِّمَّا عَمِلُوا, ranks of each of these are now according to their deeds. This is not going to happen, that people will not be rewarded as per their deeds. They will be put to test as per their deeds, and that is what it has been said, وَمَا رَبُّكَ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا يَعْمَلُونَ, and your Lord is not unaware of whatever they have been doing. So whatever they have been doing is in his total control and his total knowledge as well. So if he allows them respite, it is because he wants them to fully expose themselves, and if some of them still have the ability to accept the truth, then they should be given this respite. وَرَبُّكَ الْغَنِيُّ ذُو الرَّحْمَةِ, your Lord is self-sufficient and an embodiment of mercy. So of course the sentence is you can clearly see it's a prelude to what is to be stated later, and that is, in yasha yuzhibkum wa yastakhlif min ba'dikum ma yasha'u kama ansha'akum min zurriyatin qaumin akharin, min zurriyati qaumin akharin. So what is being basically communicated here is that if he has arranged for the people to be guided and invited them through his messengers to faith, then this is not because without all this any of his plans will not be fulfilled. So he does not have any need, and this is not dependent in any way on his creation. I mean, if people don't accept faith, they are not going to in any way reduce his treasures or do something that can harm him. They just harm their own selves. He has made all this elaborate arrangement because besides being self-sufficient, he is also merciful. And this actually, this attribute entails that he should not hold anyone accountable unless the truth is conclusively communicated to them. So God gives people full respite and warns them in every way. Only after this does he call them to account, and that is why it is said, وَرَبُّكَ الْغَنِيُّ ذُو الرَّحْمَةِ. And then it is said, إِن يَشَأْ يُذْهِبْكُمْ وَيَسْتَخْلِفْ مِنْ بَعْدِكُمْ مَا يَشَاءُ كَمَا أَنْشَأَكُمْ مِنْ ذُرِّيَّةِ قَوْمٍ آخَرِينَ. Which means your Lord is self-sufficient and an embodiment of mercy. If He wants, He can take you away, and after you bring forth in your place whomsoever He wills, just as He raised you from the offspring of other nations. So again, this is something of a warning. It is something that should sound this alarm in a person's mind, that He wills just as He raised you from the offspring of other nations. So therefore, the implication is that they should learn from their history. If God can create them from the offspring of their forefathers, it is also very easy for Him to replace them with others. It is only because of God's mercy that they are still living. He can also seize them and annihilate them. No fear has He that if they do not exist in this world, it will become devoid of people. He can create for His world any creation He wants at any time He wants. So it should not be in any way something that we should think that it is beyond God to recreate, or He can replace people. And that is something that we want to understand fully, that as far as God is concerned, He is not dependent on people. He is not in any way has any reliance on people. So if they don't behave themselves, then God can easily replace them. إنما توعدون لآت وما أنتم بمعجزين. Remember, what you are being promised with is bound to come, and you cannot make God helpless. So that is something, again, in a very, very emphatic way, that the promise of not only the worldly punishment, which إنما توعدون لآت وما أنتم بمعجزين, that whatever they're being promised, it's bound to come. And remember, the messengers of God, they promised their nations regarding two forms of torment, two types of punishment. So one of them is going to visit them in this world if they intentionally deny their messenger, and the other one is going to come in any case as a result of this punishment that is going to continue in the next world as well. So they'll face the music in this world, and they'll face the music in the next world, and they'll be punished horribly in this world, and this is going to continue in the next world. And in fact, if you look at other instances in the Quran, it becomes absolutely clear that the life of barzakh also would be a life of torment for them. So in effect, it's a threefold punishment. People who deny their messengers, who are their foremost adversaries, and deny them because of being, in spite of being fully convinced about them, they face the punishment in this world. And you have seen that this punishment normally takes place through nature, through natural disasters like earthquakes and cyclones and tornadoes and typhoons. All these destroy people once the messenger and his few companions are sifted out from them. And then when they are put to sleep in the land of barzakh, again they will be made to go through the same torment in a different way. And when they are raised to life once again on the day of judgment, their torment is going to continue. So such is the nature of this torment, that on the day of judgment, when they'll be consigned to hell, their torment is going to be eternal. It's going to be abiding and forever. So one can clearly see the implications of denying the messenger of God intentionally, that they are doomed in this world. They'll be visited with punishment in the land of barzakh, and when they get up on the day of judgment, and again they'll be consigned to hell, and this time it would be eternal damnation for them. So hence, this is something that the Quran repeatedly warns its adversaries, that وَمَا أَنْتُمْ بِمُعْجِزِينَ, you cannot make God helpless. Once He has decided for this punishment, then no one can stop Him. And that is what this verse emphatically states. قُلْ يَا قَوْمِ اعْمَلُوا عَلَى مَكَانَتِكُمْ إِنِّي عَامِلٌ فَسَوْفَ تَعْلَمُونَ من تكون له عاقبة الدار إنه لا يفلح الظالمون. So that is again something which is said in a way that makes people understand that, O Prophet, say, O people of my nation, you tread on your way, I am treading on mine. So soon you will know for whom is the good fate of the next abode, and in reality the unjust shall never succeed. So again, this is a very, very important lesson which the Quran conveys, that through the tongue of the Prophet, that, O people of my nation, you tread on your way, you do what you like, and I'm going to do what I have been asked to do. So the real meaning, of course, of the word makana here, you can see the Arabic is actually in the sense that literally it means a status or a position. Makana means a place. But the way it has been used here, the context shows that it is used in the sense of way, which means that I will do it the way I'm doing. And contextual indications, they automatically incorporate this meaning in it. And these words, in fact, sound a very clear acquittal and severe warning, which will become evident in the succeeding sentences. That the Prophet has been asked to convey his acquittal, which means that you do what you like. I'm not going to stop you. I have done what best I could have done. I have conveyed the message of God. It has reached you. Now you have chosen to evade it. You have chosen to stay away from it. So you should not blame me. Now you should wait for the decision of the Almighty. You should wait for the verdict of the Almighty. I am going to do my work. I'm going to keep on doing my work. And now God will take His account from you. So you can clearly see that it's not a sentence of compromise. People should not think that when the Prophet is saying these words, that you do what you like and I'll do what it's not that it's like a statement of tolerance, as people might understand. No, it's not a statement of tolerance. In fact, it's a statement of acquittal, that I am no longer responsible. Now you wait for what God has in store for you. And then, man takunu lahu aqibatu dar innahu la yuflihu dhalimun. So, very soon you will know that the good fate of the hereafter is something that is reserved for people who are followers of the messenger, and others, of course, are not going to receive any success. And as the verse says, "Innahu la yuflihu zalimun," the wrongdoers shall not succeed. They shall be doomed. But when they will face the doom, or when they will face this punishment, it would be too late for them to go back and repent and once again do good deeds. So it's better that now they realize they still have a chance. And this something, dear viewers, is a very common pattern of the Quran. The Quran wants each and every person to be given a chance. In fact, if I say this, if I go beyond what is said here and say this on my own behalf, that God wants even more than that, and He waits for the person to come back to Him. So even that time is something which He is willing to give. He goes into, if I use this word, extra time. He gives that extra time. Even that time is something which is afforded to people, so that if they realize, even when the time is about to expire, He still does that. Such is His mercy. Such is His want, that people should come back and realize their own mischief and their own mistake. He is not someone who would like to punish them. It's only it's something that He is forced to do, because people, out of their own injustices, they have chosen to take this way. So, وَجَعَلُوا لِلَّهِ مِمَّا زَرَعَ مِنَ الْحَرْثِ وَالْأَنْعَامِ نَصِيبًا فَقَالُوا هَذَا لِلَّهِ بِزَعْمِهِمْ وَهَذَا لِشُرَكَائِنَا فَمَا كَانَ لِشُرَكَائِهِمْ فَلَا يَصِلُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَمَا كَانَ لِلَّهِ فَهُوَ يَصِلُ إِلَى شُرَكَائِهِمْ سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ. So now come some of the innovations that you can clearly see, which are left here, and they are mentioned in a way that we will get to know that how these idolaters would actually regard their own deities to be superior to God. And this is evident from the verse that we are just going to study. They say that their oppression has reached the extent that they have set aside for God a share from the very cultivated land and animals created by Him. And they say, this is for God, they claim, and this is for our associates of God. So this is for God, and this is for our associates of God. then what is for their associates cannot reach God. So the share of the associates cannot be given to God, but the share of God can reach their associates, and that is something on which the Quran comments, Sa'a ma yahkumun, how ill is what they judge. So they are going to sacrifice various animals and dedicate them to God and to their deities. And what they dedicate to their deities, they say it is reserved for them. It cannot reach God. But what they have reserved for God, they say that it can also go to their deities. In this way, we can clearly see that they have elevated their deities above God. And the way this would happen practically, if you take a practical example, it would be that if a goat is dedicated to their idols, it was stolen or it died, or if some harvested crop dedicated to them was eaten by mice or was struck by a calamity, the loss was necessarily made up by the share dedicated to God. So, in other words, because of any loss, something that was dedicated to their deities, it of course never reached them because either it died or was stolen. So that would be made up by the share that was dedicated to God. But the opposite will not take place. So if the share dedicated to God was afflicted by any such mishap, this loss would not be covered to the share of the idols, and in other words, to them the share of their idols held predominance over that of God. And after all, why should this not be the case? All the immediate needs of the polytheists of this world are related to the partners they associate with God. And such is their misfortune that they don't even think what they are doing. وكذلك زين لكثير من المشركين قتل أولادهم شركاؤهم ليرضوهم وليلبسوا عليهم دينهم ولو شاء الله ما فعلوه فذرهم وما يفترون. In a similar way, for many idolaters, their associates with God have made the killing of their children alluring so as to ruin them and to make their religion dubious to them. Had God willed, they would not have done so. So leave them to these falsehoods of theirs. Now, this heinous crime was committed to please certain jinn. So there were some shrines that would be dedicated to certain jinn in pre-Islamic times in Arabia, and the keepers and custodians of these places would induce them to these crimes by threatening them of dire consequences from these jinn. So they would be made to sacrifice their children at the altars of such shrines, and the threat would be that if they do not do so, then they will be visited with calamities, and these deities would not be pleased by them. And precisely this is what is mentioned here, that so as to ruin them and to make their religion dubious to them, that is, make the religion which they inherited from Abraham and Ishmael doubtful. So this is what their deities do, but then this is something that they have asked for, and so they must not in any way complain, because this is what they said. And then it is said, وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ مَا فَعَلُوهُ فَذَرْهُمْ وَمَا يَفْتَرُونَ. Had God willed, they would not have done so. But you see, God did not will this, because such compulsion would have rendered meaningless the whole scheme of trying and testing people. So why would God force people to guidance? He has left this to people to choose and select for themselves. And therefore, that is something, if they do, that is fine. If they don't do, then they must realize it is only their own selves to blame. And then, of course, the topic changes, and it goes on to point out another form of their innovation, and that would be that وَقَالُوا هَذِهِ أَنْعَامٌ وَحَرْثٌ حِجْرٌ لَا يَطْعَمُهَا إِلَّا مَنْ نَشَاءُ بِزَعْمِهِمْ وَأَنْعَامٌ حُرِّمَتْ ظُهُورُهَا وَأَنْعَامٌ لَا يَذْكُرُونَ اسْمَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهَا إِفْتِرَاءً عَلَيْهِ سَيَجْزِيهِمْ بِمَا كَانُوا يَفْتَرُونَ. They say, these animals and these crops are prohibited. Only they may eat it whom we allow according to our view. Only they may eat it whom we allow according to our view, and others should not. So, only they may eat it who may allow, and others, of course, they should not have this permission. They say these animals and these crops are prohibited. Only they eat it whom we allow according to our view. Similarly, there are other animals whose backs are prohibited according to them. And there are some animals on which they do not pronounce the name of God by merely concocting a lie on God, God will soon punish them for these falsehoods they have been guilty of. So clearly, you can see that as far as these individuals are concerned, they are in full connivance with one another, and they make this up that these animals and these crops are prohibited, and only they may eat it whom they allow. So they are uh, taking the status of God, and whether what is allowed to some people and not allowed to some others, instead of delegating this power to God, they say, no, we will decide it and we will allow according to our view. And then it is said, similarly, there are some animals whose backs are prohibited according to them. أنعام حرمت ظهورها وأنعام لا يذكرون اسم الله عليها. So some of the other things that they will do is they will say that the backs of these animals, which means the flesh that clings to their back, is something that is not allowed. Of course, in the sense that there are some animals on which they do not even pronounce the name of God. So some animals whose backs are prohibited, and others they do not even pronounce the name of God. And this is another of their religious innovations. And God says that this is something that people have been afflicted with in a way that they may realize and they may not realize. But as far as God is concerned, He has done His due. He has done His due. He has given people everything that they could have asked for. He has blessed them with a lot of favors and from all sides. And if they still choose to go astray, then it is their own fault. وقالوا ما في بطون هذه الأنعام خالصة لذكورنا ومحرم على أزواجنا وإن يكن ميتة فهم فيه شركاء سيجزيهم وصفهم إنه حكيم عليم. And they say, whatever is in the wombs of these animals is for our men only and unlawful for our women. However, if it is stillborn, then both can share in eating it. God will soon punish them for these things. Indeed, He is all wise and all knowing. Again, this is something that they don't realize. They say that whatever is in the womb of these animals is for our men only. I mean, women cannot eat it. Again, this was one of their innovations, that they would not allow women, and they would dedicate some of the offspring to men only. And they would say that it is unlawful for our women. However, if the child is stillborn, if it is born dead, then they can have a share in it. In other words, women can have a share in the animal that is born only when the born animal is stillborn, which means that it is born as a dead animal, which of course is something that belittles the status of women. And this is what they would do, and it's something that we can see their reverberations in some of the elements of how women are demeaned ever since those times. So sayadzihim wasfahum innahu hakimun alim. God will soon punish them. Sayadzihim wasfahum, for what they did. Indeed, He is hakimun alim, He is wise and He is knowledgeable. قد خسر الذين قتلوا أولادهم صفحا بغير علم وحرموا ما رزقهم الله افتراء على الله قد ضلوا وما كانوا مهتدين. Inflicted with loss certainly are those who kill their children merely out of foolishness, without having any knowledge, and whatever sustenance God had granted them, they have regarded it as unlawful by fabricating a lie on God. A lie on God. They certainly have gone astray, and they shall never be guided. Clearly, you can see that the Quran has once again warned them that this act of killing their children, and then by saying out of their own foolishness and knowledge, is something is absolutely uncalled for. When they say that they have to please a certain jinn in order to kill their children, they have to please a certain jinn. The Quran says that this is a falsehood that they have concocted. It has absolutely no basis. It is superstition to the ultimate sense, in which they go as far as take an innocent human life. And قَدْ ضَلُّوا وَمَا كَانُوا مُهْتَدِينَ. They have gone astray. This is something that cannot be in any way be regarded as allowable. It is such a heinous crime to kill children at the behest of jinn or at the behest of other deities, simply because of the thing that they say that they are going to save their skins from this. قَدْ ضَلُّوا وَمَا كَانُوا مُهْتَدِينَ. وهو الذي أنشأ جنات معروشات وغير معروشات والنخل والزرع مختلفا أكله والزيتون والرمان متشابها وغير متشابه كلوا من ثمره إذا أثمر وآتوا حقه يوم حصاده ولا تسرفوا إنه لا يحب المسرفين. It is not their associates, rather it is God who has created various orchards of different types. Some of them are creepers and others are not. He similarly created date palms and has brought forth crops which have fruits of all sorts, and olives and pomegranates, alike and different to one another. As well, eat of the produce of these when they ripen, and give away what is due of them upon the day they are harvested. And do not carelessly waste away. God does not like those who waste away in this manner. So, once again, it is this, they are called to account for this, that they don't realize what God has actually given them. He has created different orchards of various types. Some of them are creepers, and these, of course, they include grapes, which they support. I mean, they need a support, they need some form of support in order to grow, and others are different. So, examples can, if you can think of examples, it could be watermelons and cucumbers, of which the stems do not need support and they spread and grow along the ground. So, that is why it is said that some of them they are, they grow, they need support, and others they grow along the ground. And these varieties of things that are given to them, they are like beckoning them, they are calling them and telling them that this is how the Almighty has made His favors available to them in such diversity. He could have given them just one thing to eat or maybe a couple of things, but He has gone through this process of painstakingly providing them with so many varieties of the same food. So there are so many types of the same food. So we can clearly see that evident in every part of this universe is unity in its multiplicity, harmony in diversity, accord in discord. The same mud, air, and water yield different types of produce in different colors, tastes, and all these are favors that satisfy man's taste buds, because human beings, they need variety. They get bored if they are given the same sustenance. So it is clearly evident that the Creator, who has made in us the need for glucose and iron, has filled pomegranates and grapes with juice that provide us with these needs. How rich a Creator He is. It is He who has created these taste buds in us, and He is the one who has given us this urge to have this urge to eat a variety of different edibles. He has blessed our eyes to appreciate beauty and splendor, and has made everything around us as an embodiment of beauty, majesty, and splendor. So it is this unity in the apparent disunity and diversity between various things that the Quran has directed our attention. And this aspect actually points to the creator of this universe and to the oneness of its governor. So, in spite of these different sorts of things, the intent that controls them is one, and that is why it is said, "Kulu min samarihi iza asmara wa atu haqqahu yawma hasadihi," that you should eat what you have been given. It is a great gift of God. There's a large variety, and this is something that you should relish and cherish and thank God. But remember, it refers to all the things that have been enumerated here, that everything that has been given to you, you should eat from it, but you should not be wasteful. Innahu la yuhibbul musrifin, that God does not like those who are in any way wasteful. And it is said that when it is said that you give what is due of you, eat of the produce of these when they ripen, and give away what is due of them upon the day they are harvested. So it actually means that at the time of harvest they should pay the right of God imposed on them. So remember, the zakat of harvest is something that has to be given at the time of produce. So it is evident from the verse that no produce is exempt from it except if the state grants remission, because as the verse says, "Kulu min samarihi iza asmara." Whatever you produce, you must eat from it, and wa'atu haqqahu yawma hasadihi, and you must give its due on the day it is harvested. In other words, whenever the produce or the produce of certain things have been given to you, you shall be liable to pay for it. And therefore, as the Quran says, "Wala tusrifu," do not carelessly waste away, because wealth is a favor of God. It's like something that has been entrusted to human beings. If they waste away, if they are extravagant, they are spendthrifts, then they will realize that this is something what Satan does. And Satan lures wealthy people foremost in this manner. He entices them into various desires and wishes that these people become such slaves to their desires and to their luxurious ways that these things become even more than necessities for them. So, how can such people think that the wealth which is scarcely enough to fulfill their extravagance also has a share for other people of God? They can never ever be so sympathetic to other people. They will only become misers and greedily hoard money. وَمِنَ الْأَنْعَامِ حَمُولَةً وَفَرْشًا كُلُوا مِمَّا رَزَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ إِنَّهُ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ مُبِينٌ. He alone has also created animals to carry you and to carry burdens, and those too who walk close to the ground benefit from them whatever God has bestowed upon you, and do not walk in the footsteps of Satan. He is your inveterate enemy. So, وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ. I mean, this is a very, very common theme of the Quran. And again, before that is expressed, it is also said that just as God the Almighty has given you a variety in edibles, He has also made animals in a large variety. So there are some animals who carry your burdens, and there are others who walk close to the ground. So examples include sheep and goats. So while mentioning orchards and cultivated lands, the Almighty had used similar words, marushatin wa ghayra marushat. And in contrast, the words used for animals are farshan and hamula. So hamula are animals which carry your burdens, and farshan are the ones that walk closely to the ground. And now this can be actually understood as a very elegant comparison. So just as in the orchards there are creepers that grow on vertical supports, as well as those which spread along the ground, in a similar way, among animals, there are those that are of tall stature, like camels and horses and mules, and those which pick their fodder from the ground, like the sheep, the cattle, and other animals of short stature. Again, once this is something which can clearly see is that supreme sense of creativity and this extent of creativity that we have, that not only has God gone to this extreme in producing edibles in various varieties, He's done the same in producing and creating animals for our own benefit. So with this we come to an end to today's session and this set of verses, and we can now go towards your questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saleem. What a wonderful session. Just some house rules. We will be asking only topic-related questions in the beginning and talk about the off-topic questions or ask off-topic questions once we finish our session on the Quranic verses. Dr. Saleem, I have a couple of questions, no raised hands, but I have some questions in the chat related to the passage. The first question being, what is the torment in barzakh if you are in a state of sleep? Also, is there any hisab in barzakh?
So you see, as far as barzakh is concerned, we are told that people who have intentionally denied the truth, they are just put through a certain sleep, and in that sleep they will be tormented, and that torment is going to be something of a like a very, very scary nightmare in which you are always feeling that there is something going wrong and that you're being punished. So that is like an abiding thing, and their account has already been settled in this world. So there's not going to be any further account. Their account has been settled, and that is precisely why they are being punished in barzakh. And once they get up in the next world, that punishment is going to continue. You see, there are two sets of people or two categories of people. One is that category which we're just talking about. So this category is one in which the account is settled in this world. And these are normally people who are addressees of a messenger of God. So their account is settled in this world, and hence their punishment starts from this world. There are other people who lived in the post-prophetic era, like this era in which we are living. We are not his direct addressees. We are not the direct addressees of our messenger. We are his indirect addressees. For us, the rule is that we are put to sleep in the land of barzakh. We would not know what has gone on. In fact, when we'll be raised to life on the day of judgment, we'll get up from the sleep and we will just remark that, well, I just slept. It was as if I just slept for a few days, maybe, or a few hours. So for such people, the account is going to be settled in the next world, and of course their balance is going to be set up there, and the scale is that's going to measure their deeds is going to be set up, and as a result, whatever the consequences are, as a result of those consequences, they will be consigned to either hell or heaven. So this second category is a category in which people are just put to sleep and their account is deferred until the day of judgment. But in the first category, their account is not deferred because it is taken in this world. And why is that? Because the messenger of God is already there and they are left with no excuse. There could not have been a better representation of truth in this world in the presence of God's messenger. So God says that in his presence, I settle the accounts of people in this world. But when a messenger is not in this world, then the accounts of people are deferred. So if you understand this division, it will make you understand a lot of verses of the Quran.
Thank you, Dr. Saleem. Then I have another question. Which animals prohibited from riding or carrying loads?
Which animals are what?
Which animals are prohibited from carrying
I
loads
mean,
and
I
riding?
mean, there is no such prohibition. I mean, these are naturally selected animals. For example, horses, mules, and camels. The collective verdict of mankind is that they are used to carry burdens, and it is a division which mankind itself has come to. God has not divinely guided us; He has just told us that there are certain animals which He has made for eating, and there are certain other animals that He has made for carrying our burdens, and some of them are common as well. Like for example, camels. So camels, they are slaughtered for food as well, and they are also beasts of burden. So it's not that these beasts of burden have been enumerated or singled out. It's as if people already know which of these animals can be used to carry burdens.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Saleem. I have another chat question. The initial verses specifically mention the group of jinn along with the group of humans, despite the fact that the Quran is the book of divine guidance for humans and thus revealed on a human being. What is the logic in so specifically referring to the jinn folk when such address to the jinn folk is of no use to the humans?
Because you see, it is a sign, it is something that we should know, that the Quraysh used to invoke the jinn, and even today there are many people who get in touch with the jinn and they use them for their evil purposes. So God is telling them that these jinn are a separate creation, and just as human beings have a will and a freedom of choice, these jinn have also been given this freedom of choice, and there are good and bad jinn among them, and for their guidance, just as human beings have been guided through prophets of God have also been sent to the jinn, so that human beings are fully aware of the fact that these jinn are also individuals who can harm and benefit people, and for this purpose, God has sent messengers to their own lot.
Okay. Then I have another chat question. What does the word sharoka mean?
Shuraka. So shuraka is
Sharoka.
the plural of sharik. It means associates.
Naushad Shafkat Saab, please unmute your mic and ask your question.
So, Dr. Saab, just the messengers that God sent, we
Hmm.
classify them as Nabis and Rasul, those
Correct.
who were whose followers were punished in this world, and those who were not. Now, why would there be a triple punishment for those who were Rasuls, and the Nabi's followers only be treated just like we are? Because
Hmm.
you said that because the messengers, they'll be punished in this world and then
Hmm.
in Alam Barzakh, and
Yes.
then
Correct.
again. That's what I want to say.
Yes, so actually, you see, this is the system of justice which God has implemented. You see, what we can understand from this is that the extent of truth which can be understood by people in the presence of a messenger of God, not a prophet, but a messenger of God, is so ultimate, it's so perfect that people can have no excuse to deny the truth. I mean, they are left with no chance of any disinformation. It's not that prophets of God also not able to do this. It is only that their worldly punishment is not given because the extent of that is perhaps not equal to that of a messenger. Prophets of God, they also convey the truth, but the extent to which messengers of God are able to convey the truth is so perfect, is so ultimate, that God says that this is precisely was the thing that would have taken place in the hereafter. In the hereafter also the truth would be communicated to the ultimate extent. But once that is done in this world, God says that this is like a mini day of judgment in this world. So perhaps what was to happen on the day of judgment has already happened for them in this day or in their own lifetime. So that is why for them it is like as if their their sentence of punishment has started with their death. It actually started in this world when they were punished by killing them through various natural calamities. It continued when they were sleeping in the land of Barzakh, and again it's going to continue. Because you see, the respite that they needed was only because perhaps the Itmamul Hujjah process was not completed on them. But in the case of the messengers, the Almighty says that the process is set to completion in their own lifetimes, and hence this punishment is warranted.
Sir, the prophets, that means they are not able to communicate the message as effectively. Are you saying that?
Well, I would not phrase this in this way. All that I can say is that there is something which is different. That maybe it could be something which is lesser, or maybe something which is lacking, because the purpose of both the prophets and messengers of God is to communicate the truth to the ultimate extent. But perhaps in the case of God's messengers, the element of this communication is so perfect that, I mean, I would say it's towards the perfection that this difference can be understood. That the element of perfection is so much that absolutely no doubt remains.
Etamam al-Hujjah is only with the messengers.
That the Itmamul Hujjah, which results in worldly punishment, is only
Right.
something that God's messengers can do, not the prophets.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Dr. Saleem, I do not see any chat questions at this time. If you want to continue with the translation, I do have one more question, but I need more clarity on it. So maybe we can continue and I can come back to it.
Okay, so let's just start the literal translation. So it says, Ya Mahshar al Jinni wal Ins. So Ya is O, Mahshar means group, Al Jinn, Jinn kind, Al Ins, humankind. So, O group of Jinn kind and humankind, Alam is not, did not, Ya'tikum, come to you, Rusulun, messengers, Minkum, from among you, Yaqussuna, who would narrate to you, Alaikum, upon you, who would narrate upon you, Ayati, my revelations. Wa, and yunzirunakum, they would warn you, liqa'a yawmikum, of the meeting of your day. In other words, your meeting of the day. Haza, which is this one. I mean, of course, this is a conversation that will take place on the day of judgment. That is why it is being said that did not these messengers come to you in the past, who would relate my verses to you and who would warn you of this meeting of today that is taking place now? Qalu, they will reply, Shahidna, we bear witness, ala anfusina, against our own selves. Wa, and gharrathum, was led away, they were led away, al hayatud dunya, by the life of this world. Wa, and shahidu ala anfusihim, they will bear witness against themselves. Annahum, that they were, kanu kafirin, amongst those who were disbelievers. So they were deceived by the life of this world, and they would bear witness against themselves. And what would be that witness? That they are amongst the disbelievers. Zalika, this would be Allam yakun, that not that was Rabbuka, your Lord, Muhlika, one who kills, Al Qura, cities, Bizulmin, due to their injustice, due to their oppression, Wa, and Ahluha, their inhabitants, Ghafilun, are not aware. So this is going to happen. Allam yakun, this would not happen unless you understand that God is not someone who is going to destroy the cities. Muhlik al-Qura, destroy the cities. Bizulmin, because of the injustices and the oppressions they are guilty of. Wa, and Ahluha, the inhabitants of those cities, are ghafil, are unaware, or they are indifferent to the truth. Wa, and likullin, for each, darajatun, ranks, mimma, due to, amilu, what they do. So for each are ranks in accordance to what they do. Wa, and ma, not, rabbuka, your Lord, bighafilin, unaware, amma, about, ya'malun, what they do. So your Lord is not unaware of what they do. Wa, and rabbuka, your Lord, al-ghani, self-sufficient, zur rahma, merciful, and your Lord is self-sufficient and merciful. In yasha, if he wants, yuzhibkum, he can take you away, wa yastakhlif, and replace you, mim ba'dikum, after you, and replace after you, in fact, ma yasha'u, whoever he wants. Kama, as, ansha'akum, we raised you, min zurriyati qawmin akhirin, from the progeny of other nations. So, what is being said is that your Lord is self sufficient and He is merciful. And if He wants, He can take you away. In yasha yuzhibkum, He can take you away. Wa yastakhlif min ba'dikum, and replace you with others. Ma yasha, whatever He wills. And this will happen just as He raised you from the offspring of other nations. Kama ansha'akum min zurriyati qawmin akhirin. Zuriya is progeny, qawmin is nation, akhirin others. So just as He has raised you from the offspring of other nations. Inna, indeed, ma, that, tu aduna, what has been promised to you, la'atin, is going to come. So what has been promised to you is going to come. Wa, and, ma, not, antum, you, bimu'jizin, make helpless. So you are not one who can make helpless. Obviously, the implication is that you cannot make God helpless. Qul, say, Ya qawm, O nation, i'malu, do, ala, upon, makanatikum, on your place. So do what you will on your place. That would be the literal meaning. Qul ya qawm, O my nation, i'malu ala makanatikum, do what you want on your place. Inni, I, amilun, I am also going to do, and of course the next part is suppressed, that I am going to do what I am going to do at my place. So inni amilun ala makanati. So ala makanati is suppressed here. Fasawfa, fa, therefore, sawfa, very soon, ta'lamun, you will know. So very soon you will know, and what will you know? Man, for whom, takunu, going to be, lahu, for him, aqibatud dar, the consequence of the next world. In other words, the fate of the next world. Innahu, indeed, la, not, yuflihu, succeed, az-zalimun, the wrongdoers. Indeed, the wrongdoers will not succeed. Wa, and, ja'alu, they make, lillahi, with God, zara'a min al-hars, what the hars produces, or what the cultivated land produces. So what do? وَجَعَلُوا لِلَّهِ مِمَّا زَرَعَ مِنَ الْحَرْثِ, they make for God what the cultivated land produces. وَالْأَنْعَامِ, and from the animals. And what do they set aside? Nasiban, a share. So nasiban is share. So وَجَعَلُوا, in fact, if you could just think that this word nasiban is something that has been deferred, otherwise the construction would have been وَجَعَلُوا nasiban, that they make a share lillahi, for God, from among what the land produces and from among the animals. So nasiban has just been deferred, otherwise it would have been simple for you to understand. Basically, it is telling us that they have made shares for God and set aside a share for God from the cultivated land and from their animals. And how does this happen? It happens in what is explained in the next part, and that is faqalu, fa, therefore, qalu, they say, haza, this, lillahi, for God, bizamihim, according to their understanding. So they say that this is for God according to their understanding. Wahaza, and this, lishurakaina, and this is for our associates, or the partners of God, for the deities. Fa, and, ma, that, kana is lishurakaihim, for their deities. Fala, therefore, not, yasilu, it reaches, ila, towards Allah, God. So what is for their deities? It does not reach God. وَمَا كَانَ لِلَّهِ, and what is for God? فَهُوَ yasilu, then that yasilu reaches ila, towards shurakaihim, their partners. So whatever is for their shuraka, their partners, it does not reach God. But what is for God, it does reach these shuraka, these partners, which I have just explained earlier on. Sa'a, what a evil, ma, that, yahkumun, they give verdict. So what an evil verdict do they give? Wa, and, kazalika, in this way, zayyana, we have embellished, likathirim min al-mushrikeen, for a lot of mushrikeen, for a lot of the idolaters, we have embellished, we have made fair. What have we made fair? Qatla awladihim, the killing of their children. Awlad, children. Him, theirs. Qatla, killing. The killing of their children has been made seem fair to them. Shuraka'uhum, qatla awladihim shuraka'uhum. So this is the complete word, their children. So, in a similar way, for many idolaters, their associates of God have made the killing of their children alluring. So, qatla uladihim, basically it tells us that zayyana likasirim min al mushrikeen. The subject of this word of this verb zayyana is shuraka'uhum, which means that basically these shuraka, these associates, they have made the killing of the children very, very pleasing to the mushrikeen. So basically, the shuraka or the associates, they are the ones who have lured these mushrikeen to kill their children, and this is something that has been made very pleasing to them. And what does this happen? Liyarduhum, so as to ruin them. So arda yurdi means that you destroy something. So liyurduhum would mean to destroy them. Wa and yalbisu means to make dubious alayhim upon them, dinahum their religion. So they do this in order to destroy them and in order to make their religion yalbisu alayhim dubious upon them. Wa and law, if Sha Allah, God wanted, ma fa'aluh, they would not have done this. Fazarhum, so leave them, wama yafturun, to their falsehoods, to what they are concocting. So leave them to their falsehoods. Wa and qalu, they said, hazihi an'amun, that these animals, wa harsun, and this crop, hijrun, are prohibited. So hijrun means prohibited. So they said that these animals and this crop is prohibited. La yat'amuha illa man nasha'u. So that they would say that la yat'amuha illa man nasha'u, not eat them except whom we want, biza'mihim, according to our view. So what is this? That only they may eat him whom we allow according to our view. So we will only allow them to eat whom we want to. Wa an'amun, and animals. Hurrimat, and there are animals hurrimat, made prohibited. Zuhuruha, their backs. So zuhur is the plural of zahar, and zahar means back. So their backs are prohibited. Wa and an'amun, there are animals. La yazkurun asmallahi alayha. La, not yazkurun, they pronounce ismallah, the name of God, alayha, upon them. And they do not pronounce the name of God upon them. Of course, this implies at the time of slaughter. They do not pronounce the name of God upon these animals when they are slaughtered. Iftara'an alayhi. Iftara means as a falsehood concocted against God. So basically, they do not pronounce the name of God at the time of slaughter, and this is a iftara against God. This is a lie or a falsehood concocted against Him. Sayajzihim, sa, very soon. Yajzihim, He will punish them. He will give them reward. Bima, of kanu, what yaftarun, they were concocting. So very soon God is going to punish them for what they were concocting. وَقَالُوا, and they said, Ma fi butuni hazihil an'am, ma, that, fi, in, butun, wombs, hazihi, these, al-an'am, animals, khalisatan, purely, lizukurina, for our males. So they said that whatever is in the wombs of these animals is purely for our males. Wa muharramun, and it is prohibited, ala azwajina, upon our women, So this is purely for our males, and our women cannot eat them. Wa in yakun maitatan, and if yakun is maitatan, dead. So if the child is born dead, pahum, then they, fihi, in it, shuraka, partners. So if the child is born dead, then both men and women can eat from it. They are shuraka, they are partners. Sayajzihim, sa, indeed, yajzihim, God is going to punish them. Wasfahum, for these things. So God is going to punish them for these things because now they are allowing and disallowing things on their own, and they are taking the ruling which God is only has the prerogative of. Innahu hakimun alim. Innahu, indeed he, hakimun, wise, alim, knowledgeable. Indeed God is wise and knowledgeable. Qad, indeed, khasira al-lazina. Khasira were in loss. Al-lazina, those who, qatalu, killed, awladahum, their children, safhan, because of foolishness, bighayri ilm, without knowledge. So indeed, inflicted with loss are those who kill their children because of foolishness without having any knowledge. Wa and haramu, they declare haram, they declare as prohibited. Ma, that razakahumullah, what God gave them, what God blessed them, iftara'an alallah, as a falsehood against God. So what do? They have regarded something to be prohibited, and this is a fabrication against unlawful fabrication against God. They did not have the power to regard something as prohibited. So what God has blessed them with, they have made it prohibited, and this is like iftara Allah. It's a concoction against God. Qad, indeed, dhallu, they went astray. Wa, and ma, not. Kanu, they, muhtadeen, guided. They went astray and they were not guided. Wa, and huwallazi, indeed he, ansha'a, he created jannat. Jannat, of course, is the plural of Jannah, and Jannah is a garden or an orchard. Ma'rushat wa ghayra ma'rushat. Ma'rushat of one type, وغير معشوشات, orchards of one type and orchards of other types. So therefore, it is God who has created various orchards of one type and other types. So, and then of course it is said there are وَالنَّخْلَ وَالزَّرْعَ وَمُخْتَلِفًا أُكُلُهُ. وَالنَّخْل, so nakhl of course are dates. وَالزَّرْعَ, and there are cultivated lands. مُخْتَلِفًا, different. Ukuluhu, their produce. So they are such that their produce are different. Wa, and zaytun, and he has made olives. Wa, and rumman are pomegranates. Mutashabihan, similar to one another. Wa, and ghayra mutashabihan, and dissimilar to one another. So in other words, he has created various orchards of different types. Some of them are nakhl, some of them are date palms. So marushat and ghaira marushat. So marushat basically refers to creepers. And so as you know that creepers are those types of fruit that need a support. They cannot grow without a support. So you can say that what is being said here is that there are certain orchards which have fruit which are marushat, and there are also fruit which are not marushat, which are not creepers. So some are creepers and others are not. And amongst them is nakhl and zar. Nakhl is date palm, zar is cultivated crops. Mukhtalifan ukuluhu, whose produce, whose fruits are different. And then, of course, more varieties are enumerated. Was zaytun, was rumman. So there are pomegranates, there are olives and pomegranates, mutashabihin, which are similar, وغير mutashabihin, and which are dissimilar. Kulu, eat, means samarihi, from its produce. Iza asmara, when it ripens. So eat from its produce, eat from its fruit when it ripens. Wa, and atu, give, hakkahu, the right, his right, its right. Yawma hasadihi, the way you harvest it. Excuse me. So kulu min samarihi would mean that you eat of its fruit, iza asmara, when it ripens, wa atu hakkahu, and you give its right, yawma hasadihi, on the day you harvest it. Wala, and not, tusrifu, exceed the limits. Innahu, indeed, la, not, yuhibbu, likes, musrifin, who exceed the limits. Innahu would mean that God does not like those who exceed the limits or those who waste away. Israf, as you all know, is wastage and extravagance. Wa, and minal an'ami, amongst animals, hamulatan, they are those who carry burdens. Hamula, who carry burdens. Wa, and farshan, who walk close to the ground. So farshan are short animals that walk close to the ground, like the sheep and the goat. Kulu, eat. Mimma, from among. Razakakumullah, God, what God has given you. Razakakumullah, what God has given you. So eat from what God has given you. Wala tattabi'u, wala, and do not tattabi'u, follow, khutuwat, footsteps, a shaitan, of the devil. So do not follow the footsteps of the devil. Innahu, indeed he, lakum, for you, aduvun, enemy, mubin, very, very clear and open. So indeed he is a very open enemy for you. So we finish our literal and idiomatic translation with this, and now we can once again move towards our Q&A session.
Thank you, Dr. Saleem. I have one chat question. So, our participant is asking, is it referring to cattle or animals? What does the word
Which
mean? I
one?
think it's referring to 139. There's a translation there. If you can clarify.
So it says what? Fihi shuraka.
Yeah, they're asking about, they don't know the word, but they're saying if the word means cattle or animals, because the
So,
translation they
so you
have.
see, in the early English language, the word cattle is used for all types of animals. Cattle is a generic word. It's not referring to cattle, the cattle that we know. This is a usage of the English language, cattle, that it also connotes animals, all sorts of animals. So it's a synonym to animals. It's not a synonym. I mean, it is not. It does not always connote cattle in the sense of cows. In
Right.
English, the word cattle, just as it connotes cows, it also connotes the genre of animals. And all types of animals are also called cattle. All four-legged animals are also called cattle.
Thank you, Dr. Saleem. Shafkat Saab, please ask your question. Naushad Shafkat, you can ask your question. You can unmute your mic.
Yes, Doctor, when you say those animals which walk close to the ground, wouldn't that include creepers like snakes and snails rather than goats?
So, I mean,
Because
remember, this is what we are told of the animals that are worthy for eating. They are fit for eating.
right,
So, basically,
right.
the animals that are meant for our own consumption.
Thank you, thank you.
I do not have any raised hands, Dr. Saleem, or any chat questions. If anybody has any, okay. Saima, please ask your question. Make sure it's related to the passage for now. If when we go off topic, uh,
Bisma, I just want to say I want to speak at the end of the session because I discussed my problem yesterday. So I want to discuss it a little bit more and want to request for the prayers that the people shouldn't forget. That's only I
yeah,
want to say that I don't
okay.
want to spoil this time.
Okay, so towards the end, I'll call upon you and maybe, okay, I'll try to figure this out. So, anybody has any questions right now, even off topic questions? Since nobody has any topic related questions, it seems right now we have some extra time. We can ask on your behalf if you so want. Otherwise, we will go to
Hmm.
Saima. And Saima, maybe the best thing would be to, yeah, just if you have anything that, uh, maybe you can ask it in the chat and
Mhm.
I can say it if you want to ask yourself. Just make sure that it's, keep time in mind when you're asking the question or whatever you're asking for. Go ahead right now since I don't have any raised hands.
Okay.
Like, well,
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Dr. Saab, as I discussed yesterday, my problem that I'm gonna, I'm working on
mhm.
writing the letter to the HR, and I spoke to my white friends over here. They are very nice and very kind. They work in the federal government. So they have guided me to send the letter to HR. So my father is the biggest lawyer in the Pakistan. The problem is that you cannot go back to
Mhm.
the family and they backlash you because you are having problem all the time. You understand,
Mhm.
like it is a very difficult situation. You cannot go and I'm
Mhm.
sorry if I cry. You go and ask your family to help and support because I've been going through for 10 years all these problems. Sorry, I get it.
Saima, how about we maybe ask this question separately? Dr. Salim, do you think that's wise? Do that or maybe not on a public forum? What?
I think
Maybe.
let her give her the choice, whatever she feels
Okay,
comfortable.
whatever you feel comfortable with, Saima, are you okay? Comfortable talking about it here?
I can talk later. That would be more fine.
Because, yeah, I just want to make sure that you keep in mind that this is a public forum and maybe you
Yeah.
don't want, and it goes online. So maybe we
Yeah,
don't,
yeah, yeah.
so maybe you
Yeah.
can reach out separately if that's okay. Dr. Salim, is that
That's okay.
okay? Because this,
That's fine.
it's, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, if anybody has any off-topic questions, please go ahead and ask them. Otherwise, we'll be ending the session. We do have some valuable time right now. If not, then I'll end the session. Okay, the question is, can we ask angels for some help or favors as angels are present and living entities? If not, as I know, it is kind of
No,
shirk.
we cannot. We cannot. I mean, the only source of guidance and help is God Almighty. As soon as we ask someone else, that would be like associating partners with God or assigning something which only God can do. That is precisely what we should not do. And this is what the people of Arabia used to do. They would regard these angels to be favorites of God. In fact, they regarded them to be the daughters of God, and they would actually request these angels to submit their request to God. So, what we are told is that whenever we have a problem, whenever we'd like to seek guidance, help, or support, it has to be directly from God.
Okay. Uh, I don't understand the last part of the question, but I'll go on. If not, then why do we ask humans in everyday life to help us as small children, like a child asking their mother to give them food? In the same way, why can't we ask, I don't know, is it said Hazrat Mikhail? I don't know, to give us rain? I don't understand the question, Dr.
Able
Salim.
to
I'm
help
sorry,
us.
but okay, it says, should we be reciting Allahumma Salli Allah, the Durood Sharif, when we are giving salam to the progeny of Abraham?
We are just wishing the for peace for the progeny of Abraham. Yes, that is something that we are doing. It's like a dua or a supplication that we are making for the progeny of Abraham.
Okay. Another question I had, Dr. Salim, religion, with, I think we referred to this yesterday, with religion being so simple, as humans, sometimes don't we complicate it for ourselves too much?
You see that the reason for that is that we have mixed culture, we have mixed emotions in religion. If we stick to the Quran, if we stick to what the guidance Quran has brought for us, that is something that will always prove to be simple. God has said Himself that His guidance is very simple. We complicate matters by not understanding directly the Word of God and going left, right, and center.
Right. Dr. Salim, it seems we do not have any questions right now, so I think we'll end the session, and inshallah, we'll see everybody next Saturday when Mariam takes on the Saturday session. Thank you, Dr. Salim. Thank you, everyone. I'll be ending the session now. Khuda Hafiz, and thank you.